Madin Mazimba, I'm back again, and today I'll be sharing with you my review of the Book of Malachi, the latest project by Holy 10. Now, Holy 10 is definitely one of the most popular, guys in the hip hop genre, in the music industry as a whole, and he's making sure that we don't go along without new music. Even last year, after he released his album, Energy, he went on to release countless singles. He went on to feature on countless tracks. So he's one of those guys who's making sure that you don't go along without not new music from him. Now, personally, for me, was not very much impressed with these last two projects. That is Risky Life. I felt that album had too much hype and lead to substance, and then Energy followed, and it sort of suffered from production issues. Yes, in terms of the bars, in terms of the content that he's singing about, it's quite good, but whenever I listen to his albums, they don't really impress me as a whole unit. I may get probably to like one or two singles, but not as a whole project. I'm not usually impressed with his albums. So going to this album, that was one thing that I was very much looking forward to. And like not for Holiton, I think even personally himself, he knows sometimes the standard, the project that he has released is a bit, lackluster, is a bit substandard, and that's why he gets to release singles, not very quick after the release of a project. Sometimes when an artist releases an album, you probably may have to wait a couple of months for people to really enjoy that album before releasing new music. But with Wally 10, I won't be shocked in February if you start getting new tracks from him. But for last year, definitely made up for that, for the lackluster project, Energy, by releasing some good singles, by excelling on the features, on the tracks that was featured on throughout the year, especially the track Loss by Nicky Genius. Now this year, after stirring some controversy on Twitter after the release of Winky D's Ebo, so he announced that he'll be releasing an album. And you can see it is one of those guys who knows how to use the hype. He stirs some controversy to create the hype so that when he announces his album, he definitely gets the views, he gets the attention, the clicks when the album gets to be released. But now the problem with me is that will the album last the test of time? Will the album, still have legs after the hype dies down? Because these past two projects, after the hype dies down, the project disappears from the playlist. So when this album dropped, I definitely rushed to get my copy of the album and have listened to this album. And today I'm gonna be sharing with you my views and thoughts on this album, the Book of Malachi. And the major question is, has Holy 10 finally made a solid body of project which you can enjoy from the first track to the last track? Now, having listened to this album, I have to say the production issues that I complained about on the past project Energy, they sort of continue onto this project. And sometimes you get to wonder why he's sort of rushing to release. If you look at a lot of hip hop projects that came last year, they were very much well mixed, very much well mastered. So you could see the problem is not with the producers, but it's now with the artist himself. The problem is now with Wally 10. He's rushing to produce albums, he's rushing to release albums before they are well not mixed and mastered. And on this time, probably was trying to not capitalize on the hype of Iboto and overboard his album Papo, and in that way he gets the views and clicks. And in a way that strategy works. But when you're talking about the longevity of the album, it definitely now suffers. That quality, when they start giving it more attention after a month, after 2 months, with okay, that album, yes, pipe get noise, but apana zviripo. So I think he needs to slow down. He needs to take time. He needs to to focus not on mastering, on making sure that the project is well polished before it's now released. Now, the most frustrating thing about Wally 10 is you listen to his album is that when he wants, he can be extremely good. On this album, we take for example the track Crown and Miscommunications. These performance, the bars, the subject matter that he's talking about, it's spot on. And on that same project, we now get poor tracks such as Can Get and Gombare Shumba. And it's just frustrating. But this guy is definitely talented. He has the talent, he has the skill, but he experiments too much. And I believe what is needed is direction for him. He needs a team that pushes him to concentrate more on his art, to teach him patience while he masters his art, and not just rush to capitalize on the hype or on trending so that he gets the views and likes. Now, as I listen to this album, you could see from the track God Is Not on Holiday to Abba Father, he is basically experimenting. And it's not the good kind of experimenting. The experiments that he's doing right now, you could feel good. He's sort of like taking his fans for granted. He knows good whatever he releases, some people are gonna argue, yeah, you guys hate Wallington, you don't appreciate anything that he does. But this quality is not what you expect from someone who says he's the best in Zim hip hop. Because if we are talking, if you get into a debate with people not from Zim, from SA, from Nigeria, not from Ghana, and they ask us, show us your best when it comes to hip hop, definitely we cannot show Wallington with this kind of quality. But he needs to focus, he needs to concentrate on the things that he knows he's good at. Almost see all this experimenting, and these experiments, they show there is a lack of maturity in the way he's doing things. So like I've said, he definitely needs a team that will guide him and push him to concentrate on his art the most. And in terms of the themes on this album, it is definitely the usual that we have come to expect from Wallington. And in terms of the vocal performance, I have to say it was quite okay throughout this whole project. On tracks such as the tracks that I've mentioned, Crown and Miscommunications, he was quite very good. Then on tracks such as Vindi, Deep Down Zaka, you could see this guy, when he wants, he knows what he's doing, but then the experimenting comes and it just ruins the whole listening experience. Now, to end this summary review, I have to say this is another disappointing project from Wallington. Despite me enjoying the track Crown, Miscommunication, and probably Zivindi and Deep Down Zaka, this album again falls, to entertain me. It falls to become not a solid body of work. It's again sort of like a collection of singles. You just pick 1, 2, 3 singles, and all the other ones I'll gladly ignore and forget. So I was not that much impressed with this album, as you can see. And those tracks that I've mentioned are the ones that I may recommend you to go and listen. The others are, you can skip them, no problem. So my overall rating for this album, I give it a 5 out of 10. Like I've said, I was not that impressed. I doubt that this album will leave behind the hype again. The third album is the same formula, the same failures. He definitely needs to change his strategy. So I know a lot of you have managed to listen to this album. So go in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about the album, The Book of Malachi. What's your favorite track, if you have any on the album? And after that, come back, like the video, subscribe to the channel. See you again next time.